guys, hey. I really hope you're doing well. I have a fan running in the background and I just can't film without it, it's just way too hot. So I hope that you'll treat it as like white noise. I hope that it's not super bothersome. And it's a bit of an odd setup. Obviously I've got my sofa behind me here, and I'm not sure how good the lighting is. I'm not the best when it comes to like lighting arrangements and backdrops and whatever. So I'm just treating this as a really lo-fi video, right? I'm treating this as a really old school ASMR vibe. And what I want to talk about today, what I want to use today, are these Winsor & Newton inks. These are drawing inks. I'm going to show them one at a time, so don't worry if you didn't get a good glimpse there. These are drawing inks, and I had these when I was like 16, 17, when I was doing art at college. And I just remember them being really nice to use. I'm not a big watercolour person, and in recent years, every time I've painted, it's been like acrylic or oil paints, you know. So I'm wanting to just try these inks again. Brother got these for me for Christmas last year, and I asked for them specifically, and I'm really looking forward to trying them out. I've tried filming this video like 4 or 5 times already with no luck. Either my phone's overheated, my mic has died, you know, there's been so much noise outside that I haven't been able to film. Like, things just keep going wrong. I feel like the universe doesn't want me to make this video, or make any video actually. I've tried a few different ones. Let's see. So what I did in one of my last videos, I've just cut it out here, is I've swatched, I don't know if that's the word, the colours. Again, because the lighting's a bit odd, I don't know how well you'll be able to really gauge the colours. I'm going to show you the boxes one at a time, and then we'll just look through those. So we'll start with this box. This is Brilliant Yellow. This is like pin-up looking lady here. Is it Brilliant Yellow? It's Sunshine Yellow. Did I say Brilliant Yellow? Maybe. And I absolutely adore these paper boxes. There's something like quite nostalgic about them for me. And sorry, I should probably show you the actual ink. You can see now, obviously, it's in the inkwell. It's really concentrated, so it looks a lot darker than it would on paper. So let's pop that there. And this is the Sunshine Yellow. And then our next one is Purple. Now it says purple, and it has this picture of a plum, I guess. I'd say it's more of like an aubergine colour. So if we compare these, it's more like this colour than it is this colour. I'm not sure why it differs on the box and the inkwell, but you can see it's almost a bit magenta in colour there. So that's our plum, or purple, sorry, I should say. And I'll fold up the little box as well. Got a pile of boxes going. This is Deep Red. I think this is my favourite box, and it's definitely my favourite colour. I like the box because it has a different image on each side, different carriages of a train. And if I open it up, this is the colour inside. I love this colour, like a blood red, I guess you'd say, like a deep wine red. I absolutely love. Put that down. Let's then go for, just trying to shake these out of the box. We'll then have a look at Vermilion, which has these soldiers on there. Let's get this out. this is a really vibrant orange colour. Let's put this there. Add it to our pile. So these are the colours we've looked at so far. This is the vermilion, the deep red and the purple. You can see what I mean about the purple being really like magenta coloured. To full out the pot. Again, this is far more accurate to the colour inside. It's like a biro blue, I'd say. You know, just like a classic biro would be that colour. On here it looks lighter, but it looks almost more of a warm tone, I think, on the box than it does there. Here we have brilliant green. Oh, I've just noticed a blotch on my finger. I think I haven't closed this one properly. Okay, that's alright. I don't think there are any more leaks from what I can see. Okay. Next we're going to have a look at brilliant green. Here we have a frog. I think it's a frog as opposed to a toad, but I don't really know the difference. I think of toads as just more boring versions of frogs. I feel that every time you see a really vibrant, colourful, beautiful frog, amphibian in nature, like the poisonous tree frogs, they are frogs as opposed to toads. Toads are more like toads are like trolls, and frogs are like goblins. Okay, and this is the colour. It's very much like an emerald green, really beautiful. Okay. Then we have peat brown. There you go. Not the most exciting colour. It's a brown, and unlike either of the packaging illustrations really, it's almost got like a greenish tint to it. It's very much like a soil brown as opposed to like a nude brown. I don't know if you can see what I mean there, but here, to me it almost has like a green tone. It's not quite warm enough. I don't know, to be like a hair colour or a skin colour. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just because it's next to these red toned colours, it's hard for me to tell. But it is very much like a soil brown to me, dirt brown. And let's add the box to the pile. And then finally we have the black, which is definitely my favourite illustration. Yeah, it's my favourite illustration. Maybe alongside the deep red. I like both of those. And this box in particular gives me like a wave of nostalgia. I remember this is the first box, the first ink that I bought when I used to use inks, and I love the spider, creepy spider man. It reminds me of Old Joe in The Muppets Christmas Carol. That's what it reminds me of. There we go. And same again, just a little image on there. Okay, we've got all our empty boxes here. It's like a display piece. I don't know if they'll stay there. Okay. And then these are the samples. These are just for my reference, really. And then I've also got here some oil pastels. And I'm not going to use them all, I don't think. I'm just going to be using the white, maybe. Maybe I'll get creative, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to draw yet, so we'll just play it by ear. But I was going to use the white in particular. I don't know if you remember as a kid, maybe you did this at school, where you draw a picture with a white crayon or oil pastel or some kind of oil-based crayon. And then you do like a wash over it with either poster paint and water, or acrylic paint, ink, watercolors, and the water-based layer kind of, it won't stick to the oil pastel, so when you paint this layer over the top, it kind of, and this picture appears. So I thought that might be cool to try, maybe not. Let's see. I've got all my inks lined up here, and here I've got these paintbrushes, which aren't particularly special. They're just paintbrushes that I found. I have a load of them, and I thought these would just work for this. If I got a smaller kind of detail brush there. I have 3 glasses of water here, and the reason for that is I don't want to have to keep changing my dirty water. So sometimes I do this if I'm particularly lazy. I'll whenever I wash my brushes, I'll dunk them in one pot and then another, and it kind of filters the dirtiness from the brushes to a certain point. Eventually you will have to change them. Anyway, that's enough yapping. I'm gonna just start drawing. I don't really know what to draw, but I just want to try a few different techniques. I just want to have a mess around. I'm not like a skilled artist by any means, but I do just enjoy the process of making things. So something I did the other day when I tried to film, I thought was quite cool. I think it was an apple I painted, and I did a pear yesterday when I tried to film. And it's this technique of using ink, where you put the water on the page first, and then you add the ink in kind of dots, and you let the water do the work, really. So I'm going to give that a go. So I'm going to get my deep red, just put the lid behind it, maybe some vermilion as well. Definitely some sunshine yellow. And one thing I don't do with inks, one thing I don't do with inks that I'd maybe do with other mediums is mix it outside of the paper. Maybe if I was doing something massive I'd do that, but with something like small you don't need to mix them. You can just mix them on the paper and just use small quantities at a time. Let's use the green as well. Let's do an apple and a pear, maybe. I'm not sure I can commit. Oh, that's a good start. I'm not sure I can commit to like a full fruit bowl, but let's just see what we end up with. So I'm just going to start by painting the shape. And I'm just doing this with water, right? Like I said, I'm going to do quite a thick layer. And this is an acrylic pad. It's for acrylic painting, so I don't really know how well inks work on this type of paper. I imagine that acrylic paper is less absorbent or more absorbent, one or the other, so the paper won't disintegrate. But I don't know, I'm not an expert, so I don't know if you can see this, but just by dabbing it, it's naturally kind of flooding the shape. And if I kind of go all the way to this edge, you can see that it'll stop where that line is that I painted earlier, which is really cool. Let's do it up there as well. I feel like you almost have to get like a bit of emotion, like you have to kind of start a wave in this tiny pool of water you've created, for it to reach the edges. I think you can see where I'm going with it. Okay. And I'm just going to blend it manually as well a little bit. And again, this is the deep red colour, which is just my absolute favourite colour, I think. And I think as you build it up with the different layers of ink, it just layers so beautifully, far better than watercolour. I've never used gouache, is it called? Gouache? I don't know what it's called. Gouache. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong word there. Paints. But I get the vibe that they're a bit like this, like they're really beautiful to layer. So maybe I could try those at some point, but I'm happy just playing with my inks for now. So I'm just going to dip in the first water pot, then my second one, and then this one is basically clean. Okay. And I've got some scrap paper down here where I can try it on. Okay. And then I think the next colour, I'm going to add some water just to keep it relatively fluid. And then I'm going to add some yellow, I think. And I'm just going to let that spread itself and then see where it needs help. Let's do some up there as well. I think doing fruits like this reminds me of Hungry Caterpillar, right? That's what it makes me think of. I'm just going to redraw this edge, I think. Layer it here. I've gone a bit outside the line here, but that's okay. I guess this is more of a peach than an apple. But like I said, I'm no artist. Let's wipe that off again. And I'm going to go back in with the deep red, and just every time you go back in it gets a little bit darker and darker and darker, so it's really easy to add depth to it, I guess. And I'm not very good at placing shadows. I don't really know. I'm bad at visualizing where shadows should land. But I guess you can just have fun with it, right? You don't need to, not everything needs to be perfectly placed. You can just paint and enjoy yourself. And then with this very narrow brush, I'm just going to go up here. Neaten it out a bit. And why don't we go here? I guess where the stalk sits. And if we use the brown colour, I think that will serve as well for the stalk. So let's try that. It's definitely getting darker outside, so I'm not sure that I've made the best call with filming here. We'll just have to see how it holds up, I think. I do get comments about my lighting, about how I should. People say they prefer darker lighting because they use it to sleep. But I don't really like that quite so much. I don't mind watching videos myself where there's a bright background and it's clearly filmed in the daytime. That's something I quite like, because I guess I watch ASMR all day, like not all day every day, but at any time of day, I should say. So it doesn't bother me, and I don't necessarily use ASMR to sleep. Sometimes I listen to rain sounds, sometimes I don't listen to anything. So it's not something that bothers me, and that's not to say it shouldn't bother other people. But I am quite selfish in my videos, and if I want to film in the daytime, that's what I'm going to do, you know. And if, you know, I've had comments like, Olivia, you need to turn down the light because I can't sleep to your videos. Watch someone else's videos, you know. That's not my problem. And I think to a certain extent with YouTube, you have to. I've learned the hard way. You have to really kind of not care too much, because you really can't please everyone. And obviously I listen to suggestions. If people request things, I'm happy to cater to those. But yeah, I'm not going to change my setup and do, you know, buy a black background and do LED lighting and all that, because that's not what I like to watch, and I don't find that cozy, really. So you have to stand your ground. I think I do a fair amount of videos that are like darkish, but I don't know, I'm not someone that sleeps in the dark anyway. I can sleep in a light room. The dark really doesn't bother me, and I hate to sleep with the windows, the curtains closed, because I just won't wake up in the morning. If it's 9 a.m, 10 a.m, and my curtains are closed, I'm still fast asleep, because my body doesn't know that it's daytime. And even if my alarm goes off, I'm still like, whoa. Okay, I'm calling it quits on the apple. Let's do a pear. Just doing a basic shape here. It's not going to be perfect by any means, but I'm just having fun with it again. What I might try doing is leaving a patch in the middle that's untouched by water, and see if it has a similar effect to the whole oil pastel thing I was on about earlier. So let's... Okay, I need to clean this brush. So I'm going to go in with the yellow first, and I'm going to dip it in the water before I put it on the page, because I don't want it to be a super strong yellow. I'm going to go right up to this middle bit. Okay. Obviously, I guess you can't get a white ink. Maybe you can. Maybe someone's invented that. But I think you have to use the whiteness of the page, really, if you want like light sections. Again, I'm not so great at light and dark. Let's make this a bit narrower. Okay. Obviously we don't have like an earth green colour, we just have this emerald green. So again, I'm going to dip it and then dip it in the water. So I've got a very weak green. And when I first paint it, it's going to look a little kooky. But then just as we layer it with the yellow, it'll start to look more like a pear and less like a mango. Let's see. I absolutely love mango. I love pears as well, actually, but I don't eat enough pears. Pears to me are more of an autumn-winter fruit. I like a poached pear, something like that. Okay, so again I'm just going to wipe my brush off and go with more yellow. Okay. Here we go. And you see what I mean about mixing it on the page? Like, you don't need to mix a colour and then paint it on. You can just let the colours mingle with each other a bit. I'm not sure I stand by what I was saying about the white in the middle. I don't think I like that. I think I'm just going to add a load of water to my brush and try and get a very, very, very light yellow. I definitely need more green on there as well. The paper's disintegrating ever so slightly, but it is holding up relatively well. I think I need more yellow than I just tried. Okay. Let's get it involved with the water. A bit more yellow here. And then I'm going to do a little bit more green. I'm being really careful with this green. I'm treating it like it's radioactive, you know. Okay. Let's try that. A bit more. I know this isn't my usual kind of content, but I really love watching people paint, whether they're talking or silent or what, you know. I just like seeing people. I feel like you're really watching someone at peace when you're watching someone paint, more often than not, unless they make a mistake and lose their temper. But I don't know, videos of watching people paint I really enjoy. There are a few videos that come to mind, or creators that come to mind. The first is called, oh god, I actually don't even remember. This beautiful person who does, I want to say Shichi Noiro, something like that, Noiro. This, I believe it's an American person. And they just do these most beautiful paintings. They're normally portraits, but they're very ethereal. And they'll just speak while they do it, and they often play, they'll play like classical music in the background, or, you know, whatever music they feel like listening to at the time. And it's just so relaxing to watch, and the way they speak about art and painting and just life, it is so elegant. I wish I had that level of decorum, which I unfortunately don't think I have. But I don't know, I'll add their channel to my bio, to my description, sorry, on this video, so you can check them out. I've been obsessed with them recently. And then, who else? Soul Repose ASMR. I've always been a big fan of her channel. She doesn't do so many videos now. I think she moved to Italy and kind of stopped posting, maybe. I'm trying these little splotches that you sometimes see on apples. Let's see how that works if I water it down. I don't think I've been precise enough there, I don't think. That was super effective. Okay, let's just water that down again. But I really love her videos, and she wouldn't always do like the same thing. She, you know, some videos she'd be baking or talking about shells is a really good one, but in a few videos she does paint. Or I know there's one video where she's like on an iPad just doing like doodles, and I really like that video. Someone's going to tell me off for cross-contaminating my inks there. I am sorry. Okay. But yeah, I love Soul Repose. Hope she's doing well, whatever she's doing now. I believe she's just living in Italy, living her best life, which is nice to see, because she did a few earlier videos where she was like learning Italian or doing various Italian based things, and I think now she's living in Italy. I feel like she's pursued her dream, right? Okay. I think I'm done with the fruits. You see what I mean about them being a bit hungry caterpillar-ish? One thing I did actually, which I'm going to recreate, is I did a load of ants in my last video. There's something very 2000s about fruit, I think. Like a fruity aesthetic. Seems to be a very 2000s thing to me. I'm not going into detail with the ants, I'm just doing dots. And then I can have one or two crawling up the apple maybe. I don't think that's quite dry enough for me to do that. Let me try this side. Okay. There was another painting ASMR creator that I was going to talk about, but I don't remember. I am going to do a video, I don't know which language I'm going to do it in, probably English and French, where I talk about my favourite ASMR channels, because I just love so many of them. This ant has completely dissolved, unfortunately. Yeah, there are so many creators that I love watching. Let's try and get a bit of an ant parade going. So I really struggle to multitask mentally. Yeah, so a video about ASMR creators I would like to film. And then thinking of the ant parade, it reminded me of a game I had as a kid called Read a Rabbit. I don't know if you remember this. It was a rabbit, and it was like a preschool game, I think it was sold as. And there was like an ABC cafe, I think it was called, and there was a monkey, and he had various blocks with different letters, and then there was like pattern recognition games with ants. There was like an ant parade. I don't know if I'll be able to, I don't know if anyone remembers that. I don't know how niche of a memory that is. You know, sometimes you say something thinking it's really relatable and no one understands. And you kind of get a weird look. That's how I feel quite often. But obviously when I'm filming, I don't have any immediate reassurance that people know what I'm talking about. I think I'm done with the fruits, you get the gist. Let's try and do like an infantile crayon drawing. Let's try a star. I feel that's the classic. I have started watching, and I'm so late to this, but I've started watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's Always Sunny. and I tried watching it in the past, and I just didn't find it funny whatsoever. Like, I didn't understand why everyone raved about it. But I think I watched it, because Danny DeVito comes in a little bit later, and as soon as Danny DeVito got involved, I was like, oh yeah, I see why people love it now. Because it really is just a funny program. And one episode in particular, which made me absolutely cry with laughter, I was genuinely in tears, was the musical episode where Charlie writes a musical, and then he I mean, no spoilers I guess, but you know the one I mean. I think it's like one of the season finale. Doesn't feel like the right word to use, but that's the word I'm going to use. Yeah, it's a very funny program, and that episode in particular, I've not laughed like that in so long at a program. But yeah, just like the whole musical. I'm not going to dwell on it. Sorry, I'm really struggling to make conversation. I think because I'm painting. Like, I really can't multitask. It's really not something I can do. Can you see what I'm saying here about the stars coming through? The crayon coming through? Now, I'm not sure I used the best paper. I probably didn't have the best technique. You can see the stars up here. Which I think is sweet. Why don't we try another colour? Why don't we try yellow? And we can do like a yellow moon, maybe. Whoa. Okay. I think because it's quite a textured paper, the oil pastel doesn't necessarily fill all the gaps. So it's a lot easier for the ink to seep into there. Okay. Maybe if I try blending it in a bit. Okay. And then again, I'm just gonna kind of clean it up just with my hands. There we go. There you go. That works quite well actually, I feel. Let's see if... Okay, I've cross-contaminated a bit there. I feel that's a very sweet method of painting. Maybe we'll try painting a colour, and then we'll do a black outline over the top. See how that works. I just went straight in for the vermilion here because I haven't used it yet, but I don't know what I'm going to paint. Why don't we do like hair, right? Why don't we do like a big massive curly hair? I feel I'm not being free enough here. Okay, let's just go. Get the gist of what we want to do. Like this. If I was super free-spirited, I think I'd just stick the ink without forming it all on a page, and then I'd see what I'm inspired to paint from it. But alas, I'm not a super free-spirited person, unfortunately. So I'm doing some hair. That's what I'm doing, and then let's go for some yellow as well. I love this yellow combo. Nice ginger hair. Okay. I love ginger hair. I've always loved ginger hair. Or like red hair. You know, some people dye their hair red, but not like the Little Mermaid red. I mean like orange, like this exact color. I really like that. I actually have an allergy to hair dye, so I used to always dye my hair black. And then I think it was actually after COVID. It was some really weird side effect, not side effect, symptom. That's not the word I'm thinking of. It was a weird result of having COVID. There's quite a few people just developed allergies that they didn't have before. Maybe it's like an autoimmune response, like your body freaks out whenever certain things come into your system. But yeah, my body decided that it's allergic to hair dye, and I used to dye my hair black all the time. I had black hair for years while I was at uni. And now I don't. Now I can't. It like scabbed really bad. I know this is quite disgusting, sorry. But I got really like it was scabby on my scalp the first time I realised I'm allergic. And then I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. It's probably just this. It's a dodgy batch of hair dye. So I tried it again, and for a good while actually, after knowing that I was allergic, I just kept trying because I was in denial about being allergic to hair dye. And yeah, and then eventually I tried it, and my head swelled up like I looked like I had a dodgy Botox. It was really bad. And I think that was a point where I was like, yeah, okay, I'm allergic to hair dye, and I am gonna die if I keep messing about like this. So I think that was what made me stop. It was my head looking like it was about to explode. And that was also when I learned about Japanese donut head people. Like there was some trend in Japan, I don't know when it was, it feels like quite a 2000 thing, of like getting like a donut shape inserted into the head here. I don't think it was unique to Japan, but I think that's where it started. It was some like punk movement. I guess something akin to those people that like get tattoos all over their faces and transform into tigers and dragons and things, like an extreme counterculture beautification, but like, you know what I mean, like a rebellious kooky procedure that people get done. Donut head. I don't even know what I'm on about anymore. This is what happens when I try and concentrate and speak at the same time. This is the shit that comes out of my mouth. So let me just get back to painting. So I've painted this person, the beginnings of a person. And I'm just gonna do some black ink over the top to form some kind of shape. If I was super talented, I'd do like a one-line drawing, but I don't really have a vision. I'm maybe gonna do like a shocked expression. Like that. And let's do a nose as well. There's nothing I love more on earth than colour with like a thick black outline, you know, like an illustration like this where it's super vibrant and then there's just a chunky black, you know, like just children's illustrations, I guess. I just absolutely love it. And what I was gonna go for here was like a windswept look, like the lines here we can go a bit ham with. And this black just glides so beautifully. I could just paint with this all day. Let's do a little curl here maybe. She's looking quite frazzled. Not so good at drawing hands. Something like that. It feels almost like you know when you're on like a digital, like, you know, Microsoft Paint or something. And there's just an infinite supply of ink on your brush, like it just feels like it could go forever. She has a bracelet on. Some eyebrows. Well, I think this is going to be quite a long video. I'll show you what we've got, I guess, before I leave it for the night. These are our final little doodles. It is really just it really is just very relaxing type of painting for me, I think, using inks. Something about it just feels very simple. I think it's just you know, I've got 8 pots of ink here, and I'm just using those, and I'm just letting things form on the paper, and there's something very fluid about it. It just feels very cathartic for me. Anyway, I know this was a really random video, and I'm sorry that I don't do so many videos in English anymore, but I do like doing them in English. Videos are my safe place, right? So I'd like to do more. So maybe I'll just write good night on this piece of paper. Okay. Let's do that. With this beautiful black. Good night.